approach life from the perspective of a scientist. You want to experiment every single day. You want to poke and prod at some of the control variables that you see. I wanted to take the time to speak about a very popular topic in the manosphere known as the red pill. What it is and when you should leave it behind. You see, I see much suffering or much stagnation in the evolution of men when they come to know the red pill and when they begin to cling onto the red pill ideology like their own personal Bible. So for those firstly uninitiated, the red pill talks in reference to the 1999 movie The Matrix, in which Neo is offered the red pill or the blue pill. The red pill is essentially synonymous with awakening, with seeing the ugly truth of the world unfiltered and unburdened without your rose-tinted glasses. It is the relief from ignorance, which is the antithesis of the red pill, which is the blue pill, ignorance. Sticking your head in the sand and not wanting to see the world for what it is in all its ugliness. You will have experienced, or you will experience, your own red pill truth at some point in your life. It often gets conflated with this idea of female nature. So I'll give you an example. One of my first relationships I ever had, my missus cheated on me in that particular relationship, and I was very pussy whipped. I think that would be a fair thing to say, and I tried to cling on to that relationship as much as I could. But I was unfamiliar with this word of hypergamy, which simply means that women have an inclination to trade up whenever that opportunity arises for themselves, be it a man with more status, a man with more money, a man better looking, so on and so forth. However, what happens when you start to delve too deeply into the details of the red pill community is you start to latch onto it like an ideology, like a football team you support, or like a religion that you so adhere to certain rules and values and assumptions about how things will begin to be played out. And this leads to a ugly band of MGTOW men who are done with women, who are resentful of women, and who do not seek to engage with women for the foreseeable future. Now, I would hate for any people who are following me on this channel to follow that unfortunate and devolving path of the MGTOW and the red pill philosophy and its fundamentalism. So I wanted to shine a little light on why I believe it is essential for your growth to leave this behind at some point. So I mentioned previously that the red pill is going to be an inevitable evolution in your progress as a man, unless you are condemned to burying your head in the sand for the foreseeable future and living in ignorance and the matrix and the Maya and the illusion of this modern world. But there comes a point where, like any ideology, like any opinion, if you become married to it, you become inflexible. And if you are inflexible, you will invariably break on occasion. A common theme I see amongst people who are perpetuating red pill rhetoric is this idea that pursuing modern relationships with women is fruitless, because inevitably, once she experiences higher values in other men, such as some of the variables I was speaking about before, more money, better reputation, better looks, or whatever the case is, she will trade you in like a car at a local dealership to get a better model or a better upgrade. I believe this is a very cynical way in viewing the modern world, and I believe it scares a lot of men out of the mere pursuit of that fruitful relationship. Anyone who is a fan of my work or my material will know that I am not a proponent of ideology. I don't want you to even be married to my opinion. My opinions change over time vastly. What I said a year ago, I may not agree with, and I may change my mind, my opinion, due to my personal experiences and even the experiences of many of my mentors and people I admire. So in the same vein, what I'm inviting you to consider, what I'm inviting you to do is in fact invite you to be more intelligent, invite you to be more reflective of what you're reading and who it's coming from. If you are a fan of red pill rhetoric, which isn't without its value, do not get me wrong, do look at the lifestyle of the individual that is perpetuating it to you. Are they single? Are they living a life that you would equally like to live? Do they have loving relationships in their lives? Are they married? Are they dating? Are they playing the field? And you need to look with eyes unburdened, influenced by these individuals and seriously ask yourself the question, is this individual living the kind of life that I would also want to live? Because if it's not, then you have some deep meditating to do on how much information, how much of this personal rhetoric you allow to permeate your subconscious mind. I think it's a horrible thing to be cynical and deeply mistrusting of women in general. Of course, there are going to be individuals that are going to seek to take advantage of you and seek to, let's say, exercise their natural proclivity for hypergamy. But I do not believe that, or I do not want to believe, in fact, that it is the natural disposition of the feminine to view you as a object that can be traded in for higher value, for greater, let's say, materialistic peacocking to the world. It has not been true, at least in my experiences, with the relationships I've had thus far. And I would argue that I am fairly astute and, let's say, perceptive in my analysis of what somebody brings to the table when I choose to communicate, interact with them, and eventually what relationship I begin to extrapolate out of those previous experiences. So men, I hope this is a video that gives you some poise, that allows you to think, or invites you to think more critically about who you're listening to and how much of their, let's say, opinions you allow to influence your decisions in your own personal life. And I would do the same with me. I would, I'm a small channel. There are going to be other people who have more influence, who have more social proof, and you may be more inclined to, let's say, take their advice as opposed to somebody else. But if there's anything that you can take from value of this particular, from myself and this channel and my particular way of thinking, is don't be married to your opinions. Don't be married to ideology. Be married to your own personal experiences, what works, what doesn't work. And if anything, approach life from the perspective of a scientist. You want to experiment every single day. You want to poke and prod at some of the control variables that you see, and what combination, what actions, what thoughts, what words you say bring you the most joy and allow you to articulate yourself through life with the greatest rewards, not only to yourself but others, your relationships, your community, and so on and so forth. So brothers, if you enjoyed anything of what I've said here, you can subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you again very soon. Take care.